Hey, I'm Stephen Watson. I'm here at Someday Farm, where we teach, and I'd like to share a teaching about the experience of chi, or the experience of sensations, feelings, shifts, waves, energies that we might refer to as chi, even though some people may disagree with the name that we apply to the experience. So this is a way that I introduce this teaching, which is one I give to teachers quite often. And so I'm here sitting by the pond, and I'd like for you to just sort of adopt a meditative posture, physical and mental, and hopefully we have a rather idyllic scene so you can kind of enjoy. And I'd like to invite you to just kind of notice anything red in the scene. What do we notice that's red in the scene? And at some point here, I invite you to close your eyes, resting in the vision of the scene that you've participated in, enjoyed, remembered, perhaps appreciated. And I'll be asking a question here. And the question is, can you name for me anything in the scene that was yellow? And that's the end of the lesson. So I don't actually need your answer, it's rhetorical. And of course, you noted some things that were red, whether they're the maple leaves or rhododendron, the barn across the pond, perhaps the red bridge, or the upturned lily pads, or the Torii of the golden mice, or perhaps the red hummingbird that drifted by. And in your mind, you have perhaps a small collection of things that were red, and so you're kind of ready to answer the question. And then when the question is, can you name for me something yellow? Or I could have picked any color. There's a hiccup in the brain. Wait, I was ready for, wait a minute. Well, that's okay. I have my faculties. Let me think of something that was yellow. There must have been something. And you might even really just go to your wisdom to describe something yellow. Say, well, if there was grass, there must have been some yellow grass. And I know there's lily pads and they have some yellow bits, so that would have been one of the answers. So you can come up with a yellow thing, not necessarily from memory, more from your wisdom, your having grown to this age and your accumulated knowledge. And you certainly might have just remembered something yellow, something might have stood out, that's fine. But the point of the lesson is that little hiccup, that challenge to your experience that comes from an expectation, which of course I created the expectation. I asked you to take note of what's red, so you're trying to be ready for that test. Now, what this has to do with qi, and the reason that I teach it this way, is that as a longtime player, practitioner of Nejo Chuan, qi is one of those terms that's understood and misunderstood and differently understood and argued over more and avoided and embraced and everything in between by all sorts of people that know very little about it, people that know, scholarly degrees of education, I guess, scholarly degrees of insight and accumulated wisdom. And everybody argues over it. Everybody has different takes, and that's fine. My point isn't to promulgate a particular take. But what I do want to do is make sure that as a teacher, I don't get in the way. I don't want to step between the experience of a student, whether it's psychological or sensation or emotional or mental. I don't want to be between their experience and themselves. And one way that I've noticed that happens is if I, for example, feel the qi, maybe we can picture doing a particular exercise or practice, and when I feel the qi, I feel a growing warmth in my body. And of course, I'm excited by that. It's qi, I'm doing it, I'm getting healthy, I'm healing, I'm making my teacher proud, I'm benefiting, I'm feeling the fruits of my practice. That's it, it's warm. And I have in front of me a class of, a dozen students perhaps, and I use the language of warmth, right, of heat, of temperature, to describe it, which is natural. If a student in the class is to experience what many people will call qi in a different way than me, sort of a different category of explanation, then I'm making it hard for them to see that. In the same way that when you were ready to answer a question about red and you were asked a question of yellow, your brain sort of tumbles around like, wait, do I know that? Was there anything? Let me remember, let me imagine, let me convince myself, etc. The wind has just picked up here, so hopefully I have the, I think I just added the noise canceling, so maybe it's a little better. So what I recommend doing and what I do is I studiously sidestep any categorical description of qi. The reason I said 10 or 12 people in a class is that I've seen in that size class, in that sort of sample size of students, I'm going to find usually 3, 4, 5 different sort of types of experience of a qi kind of a sensation among that sample size of people. And some of them are going to feel it as heat, like I do. I'm going to feel like I really connected with those students, and they're going to feel, yes, I'm doing it right. You said heat. I'm feeling warmth in my shoulders and my palms or my feet or my center or whatever. And the teacher said it, so I'm great at this, right? I have a gift. My study is paid off. This is for me, this course of study. I'm going to be a sage, But somebody else in that class who, let's say, is feeling a magnetic sensation, having done the same practice and having the same focus of their mind and attention and consciousness, they might feel like, well, I'm missing it. I've gotten it wrong. In fact, they may not even really have their consciousness alight on that magnetic sensation because I said heat. And so they begin to look for heat while their body is feeling magnetism. And so they lose track of, or lose the ability to, or lose the confidence in the conscious experience of their sensations, of the flows in their body and the energies in the body, of the vitality of their being. So in a given class, we might feel people that experience, having done the same exercise, the same sort of mindset, same, let's say, skill level or aptitude, they might experience a change in density. They might experience a change in like pulsation in the limbs, for example. They might experience warmth or cold. They might experience numbness or tingling. They may experience magnetism. They may experience sort of a pressure change. And I don't want to precede the student's verbalization of their experience with my own, because that may make them look in the wrong direction and not trust their own feelings, or not even note their own feelings, for example, and lose confidence in that. So having done this for so long, I'm aware that there's a lot of different sort of categories of description. And once the student says to me, hey, I feel this change in density, then I start using that language to describe it to them and to have a conversation and to embrace how they're experiencing it. And then I might say, hey, by the way, I feel it as a density, but that's cool about your, I'm sorry, it's cool. I feel as a magnetism. By the way, it's cool about your density thing. Let's communicate across these borders. But that doesn't seem to challenge their confidence. It just lets them see that the experience of chi, the experience of life in this human body, can be massively varied. And I don't want to erect walls between us. I want to seek the bridges between our experiences. So as a teacher, I think it's exceedingly important to be very, very careful about how I describe these sensations and how I lead people to notice their own experiences, because there's a lot of power there, and that power can really endanger somebody's confidence and devotion to the practice. And we all know that the longer we practice, the better the world will be, the better the chi will be, the better our health will be, the better our skills will be, the better the art will get passed on. So it's ultimately in service of a more extended and deeper practice. So hopefully this has made a little bit of sense to you. And you can pay attention to, how you language around the art and what the effect that is on others for the better or for the worse. So thank you very much. This is Steve Watson. I'm here at Someday Farm, where we teach, and we'll check in later. Thank you.